Hey everyone, I've been itching to make this video for a while and I finally have some time, so let's get right into it. First thing I want to say is don't be scared off by all the information on the page. I promise a lot of it is the same information repeated and it's just straightforward and simple math, and I'm going to go through every section and explain what's going on. And the conclusion we're going to reach is that in Georgia, where Biden's lead is only 12,781 votes, this batch of 23,487 votes went at an exact absolute minimum, and I stress that part and I'll explain why later, 97.9779% for Biden, so basically 98%. And that raises some red flags for me. So let's get into the analysis, and it all starts here in this gray box. These are the official batch entries from Edison Research that are available on the New York Times website. So let's go there to explain a little bit. Basically, what somebody did is that they went on the New York Times website and they scraped all the data from the website. So this is kind of all the back end, behind the scenes data on the website. And just to kind of show you what I mean, to prove that this is New York Times, you can see the headlines right here. Prominent Republicans are continuing to close ranks around President Trump. Blah, blah, blah. The new county with the longest streak of picking presidential winners, which has gotten every election right since 1980. So, this is all their article stuff. What we're interested in, though, is the batch data. And here it is. So I guess New York Times on their website on the back end has from election night and forward up until the votes stopped coming in, they have batch by batch data from Edison Research. Now, Edison Research is the main company that flows information from the states, counties, precincts on election day and onward, flows it through to the media and reports it to them. So you can see that the source is Edison. So let's just quickly go through what's contained in one batch entry. So it's actually very simple. It starts with vote shares. So here's Biden, 0.618, so 61.8% of the vote. Trump, 37%. And this is their vote share for the total votes that have been reported so far. This is a running total of the votes. This, I don't know what it stands for. I think it might stand for something like estimated entire vote percentage or something like that. But anyway, regardless, I know that it's the percent of the total vote that has been reported, and you'll see that that goes up, up, up as the batches go on. The source is Edison Research, and the timestamp, which is in Universal Time Zone. So that's Eastern is 5 hours behind that, Central is 6 hours. So that's all there is to that. So let's go find the actual batch that we're looking for now, that we are examining. I just want to show you, we're going to go back to the spreadsheet. I just want to show you that it is here. So here it is. 53.4, 45.4, just so you can see these numbers for yourself. 4,088,909, blah, blah. So you can go back, if you don't trust me, you can go back and compare that later. So here's that same batch that we were just looking at, and that's the data we're going to be working with. Basically, we're just going to be looking at the variance between this first batch and the second batch, and how many votes did each candidate gain. So let's start here, and we have the percentages straight from that data. We have the total votes. Then we have the total votes per candidate, and that's calculated, that's not given in this data. That's calculated using this and this. The problem with that is that this isn't enough decimal places to be accurate for such large numbers like that, and that's where we're gonna adjust the numbers here, and that's why I mentioned when I said the exact absolute minimum. So it gives us tons of confidence, like mathematically speaking, that is the minimum. There's no variance there for that 97% other than being higher. So we can then calculate the change in votes. So you can't see it. Here it is. So here's Trump's previous vote. So this formula is just taking that, deducting those votes. And same for Biden. Again, I'm not going to go into every single thing in detail. You can check out the math for yourself. But this is the batch we're looking at, this one right here. So if you just use the numbers as given, and don't make them more exact, look at what happens. It says that Trump actually lost votes and Biden won over 100% of the batch. So of course that's I shouldn't say of course because with this election you never know, but that's probably not right. So here, let's go over here. This is the exact same data we were just looking at, just organized a bit differently to kind of line up with this. So that's the Edison data. It's only up to 3 decimal places. You know, this looks like 1, but really the percent is like right here. The percent is a decimal. So this is the same data as this. Okay. This is what we want to look at. So here I have this huge heading here. Adjusted to max number of decimal places that will round up to Edison numbers. So how much can we adjust? How many decimal places can we add? Basically, the max and the min, whatever, that will still round to these numbers to kind of find the possible range. And I'm, motioning with my hands right now. Maybe I should have done a video to find the possible range of percentages for this batch. So let's start with Biden. You can see the votes are the same. And I'm just going to show you for Biden how I adjusted. So when you want to find the minimum percentage of votes, you want to shrink that variance as much as possible. So you're going to raise this first number and you're going to lower this second number as much as possible. So he had 45.4. So I made it 45.4, 4999999. Because if it was 45.45, this 4 would round up and it would round up to 45.5. So then for the 45.8%, we lowered it as much as we could. So that is 45.75. That's the lowest number that will round up to that 45.8. So that shrinks that variance as much as possible. So you see that with the original numbers, it's saying he got 27,113. With these numbers, it's saying he only got 23,012. The damning thing is here that even with these absolute lowest numbers, that's 98% of the batch. Like, let that sink in for a bit. Biden's lead is only 12,000 votes, 12,700 votes. Let's look at the maximum. So we do the reverse. We lower this beginning number and we raise the ending number. So that's the range. And this 115 would actually be the middle point. So honestly, you could very well say there's a good chance he got 100% or even more of the votes. And we know that we've seen so many different irregularities that we know that it's not impossible. So he did the same thing for Trump, but that's not really as important. We can see, although we can see that his max vote that he could have gotten on this batch was 0.82% of the batch, absolute maximum. So that's it. I mean, this batch was uploaded at 12:18, so another kind of late night. I think, I don't know, maybe this was, I can't remember which county, maybe it was Fulton County. They, said they were shutting down the counting at 10:30 or something, and then they apparently went on till 1 a.m. or something like that. It'd be very interesting to know, where did this batch come from? And was it one of those batches that was uploaded, when apparently the counting had stopped, but actually it didn't. So I don't know, that's just speculation. Of course, I don't have that level of information. I just want to anticipate what some people might say. This is not a case of updating one candidate at a time. We can see from looking at the surrounding batches that Trump did not receive any corresponding entries. So let's just do that quickly. These are the previous batches. Let's look. Trump 53, 71, 74, 54, 10, 50, 23. See, there's nothing. I do want to draw your attention to this quickly. So look, this is saying that Trump got 200% of this batch. So this is where the whole rounding thing comes in. This is why with this data, you can't really do anything useful when there's only that 0.001% jump. Because if you do the range, you'll find that the range will basically be from 0 to whatever. Like, it'll be this ridiculously wide range. So that's why it's happening there, because he went up the whole 0.1, but it could have been way less, or the 0.001, but and it was likely way less than that. This happened to be the one that bumped it up to 3.5. And, that's why it makes for those kind of goofy looking numbers. But this one, so the bigger the percentage jump and the bigger the batch number of votes, the more accurate the data is. But in this case, it doesn't matter because, well, it does. It's good that we have a big enough jump in both measures. But anyway, so let's look at the following Trump batches: 53, 53, 53, 53, 53, 53, and this is the exact Edison data. I just kind of manipulated it to make it easier to follow. 53, 37, 36, 12, 52, 52, 20. Okay, so you can see that there's no corresponding batch for Trump. Oh, and so according to official data released by the state of Georgia, and let's look at that data quickly. This is again the data. I just manipulated it a little bit. And it's interesting. It gives the breakdown by election day, absentee, advanced, and whatnot. So obviously, red is Trump, blue is Biden, green is independent. So I want to show you that absentee by mail votes. I did a calculation. B mail. So the county in which Biden got, this is Biden's percent of the mail-in vote in that county, ranked from highest to lowest. So even in the top county, Biden got 86.39% of that mail-in vote, which, I mean, that's a thing to discuss for another time. These crazy numbers in a handful of big Democrat-controlled cities, these crazy ratios and these crazy ballot dumps in the middle of the night. But that's something to discuss for another time. So that makes this batch of votes extremely suspect. Even if we give them every single allowance, we're as generous as possible. We use the minimum number. We use this max. We pretend that this is 100% mail-in votes from the best county for Biden at 86. Still, I mean, that's not going to flip the election if that's, but that's thousands of votes. And that's being as generous as possible. This could be higher, and his actual, sorry, this could be lower. His actual percentage of the votes could, be lower. It could be lower than this, right? It maybe isn't all mail-in votes, So anyway, I think this data is very strong. It's very conclusive because I'll show you just to compare for a second. I have other anomalies here. And so, for example, this is the huge dumps in Michigan, 97, 94. And those are strong. Those are very, that's very strong evidence as well that would warrant investigation. But look at the range is a lot bigger. But let's look at, some other ones I thought maybe looked suspicious on first glance, say in Pennsylvania. 92, 93, 94.67. But look at the range again. I guess because the shift is not much and the batch is not much. So the range is actually, so in terms of the range, it's not as strong of evidence unless we know the exact number. But let's go back to this. We can see that this is extremely strong evidence. And in my opinion, the ballots that comprise this batch should and must be obtained and independently audited. And that means not by city officials. That's another thing. I guess a lot of the accusations coming out would involve a lot of corruption at a local level. And if you think there's none of that going on, then, I mean, you've got to open your eyes. So to have the same people that kind of organize the election and whatnot go back and recount and audit and stuff and to say, oh yeah, nothing's wrong, that's obviously suspect. So, I don't know what can be done, but I'm saying this is, and I've seen pretty much I've been following everything very closely. I've seen probably almost every accusation of, irregularities and fraud and statistical analysis. And this definitely isn't the biggest batch. It's not the biggest dump of votes. It's not the biggest anomaly, maybe. But this is some of the strongest and hardest evidence I've seen for a very significant anomaly that I think can't be brushed off by, the kind of one-liners that they use to brush off other things. Oh, it's just mail-in votes. Oh, it's just this community. oh, they were just doing it in the middle of the night for, whatever, this reason. So it can't be brushed off. So that's basically all I want to say. There were other anomalies I was going to include in this video, but President Trump actually tweeted a couple of them, Wisconsin, Michigan recently. He retweeted a graph. So I'm not going to go there for now. So that's basically it. I just do want to mention to kind of leave you thinking about something. Um, 9 witnesses of the recently completed Georgia audit, including at least one registered Democrat, swore to have seen suspiciously pristine, uncreased mail ballots uniformly and perfectly filled out, almost always for Biden. In one case, a batch of such ballots included 500 ballots in a row, all cast for Biden. So is there a relation between this highly suspicious batch and these suspicious ballots? And a number of these people signed sworn affidavits that go into more detail about these ballots, and there's definitely something off with these ballots. So um, I think this video went longer than I was hoping, but I wanted to make it clear. I wanted to, make sure that covered all my bases so people can't kind of poke holes in the analysis. So I encourage you to check the numbers for yourself. Let me know if there's anything amiss, but I've checked them a bunch of times. So you know, please share this video. I think this is really strong evidence of something suspicious going on and something that should absolutely be investigated. Thanks for watching.